back here again. I'd like to welcome all of you back into the world of Project Moon. This time, we are going on a tour around the city inside our tour bus, and we're bringing along 12 mentally deranged morons. Like the many creations of Satan, Limbus Company is special in the way it brings misery to the player. You play as a member of the Chinese Communist Party, and in your hands are the lives of 12 man-children who are all at odds with one another. Embark on this journey through the slums of Los Angeles, crashing through Las Vegas to stop by Area 51, then descend into literal hell with all of its fun attractions. All because you are contractually obligated to collect all of the 7 Dragon Balls with help by people who escaped the psych ward. Explore the deep and interesting world of the city. Make an attempt trying to decode the combat system that makes you feel like you're on acid, and try not to jump into a coffin by the end of it all. Welcome to Limbus Company, Manager, and we wish you good luck. Limbus Company is a turn-based character dungeon crawler video game that will cave in your skull like the child I drove over in my Mini Cooper. Gone are the days of open-world survival sandboxes whose straightforward combat is rotting your brain. Limbus Company's gameplay will make you transcend dimensions and high-five God before subsequently crashing through the 9 layers of hell. Combat can only be described as Schrodinger's cat. You don't know how it looks, you don't know what is happening on your screen, and unless you open up the box, you don't know whether the cat you put in there has been vaporized by the ionizing radiation. That is the key to understanding Limbus Company's combat. It is to open it up and see, go experience it firsthand. Put yourself in that box and barrage your body with ionizing radiation. The tutorial won't make you understand shit, so it's better to just suffer through it and learn from experience. Well, here I am about to tell you how the combat works, so buckle up, pea-brains. It's studying time. Do you know yourself? Do you like yourself? Do you like the skills that you have? Well, ladies and gentlemen, identities and skills are the core of Limbus Company combat. At your disposal are 12 mentally deranged psychopaths that are willing to fight for you, each one having a specific skill tied to their identities. We'll talk about identities later. What matters right now is the skills, because skills will be what you are using to beat the shit out of your opposition. Tied to a skill is the quantitative value of the attack, the type of the attack, and how much more damage you can inflict if a coin lands on heads or tails. The fate of your sinners can quite literally be decided by the flip of a coin, because God is my witness, Gregor, flip your fucking coins, Bearman, you're losing all of your clashes. Speaking of clashes, this is the moment where you put skill against skill. To win a clash, you have to make sure your value is higher than that of the enemy, and once you do, a coin will be taken away until there is none left. Only then can you dish out damage. The order of battle is determined by speed and chaining skills. Speed is a random number generator that determines which one goes first, and if you think you get to decide who attacks who, you're shit out of luck, buddy. Chaining skills is important, because these colors don't run. That is right, puzzles of color. By chaining 2 skills of the same sin affinity, that sin will resonate and provide you with more damage. By chaining 3 or more, you get absolute resonance, and I think you get what happens, right? Using skills that have a certain sin affinity will give you a sin resource of the same affinity, which will be stored on the right side of the screen. These are used to call upon a tactical nuclear strike on either one or more enemies, and this is what we call EGO. What is it? What does it do? EGO are unique special weapons that are attached to individual sinners. EGO is weaponry made out of someone's mental state. Therefore, you are beating the enemy to death with your mental illness. One last thing. Stagger. So you know how your enemies and sinners have resistances to the different attack types? By staggering an enemy, all resistances are set to fatal. You can breathe on a motherfucker and he just contracts pneumonia right then and there. By lowering your enemy's HP below a golden threshold, they will get staggered. Now, don't get me going about passives, the thousands of status effects, and support passes from sinners out of combat, or the condition with sanity points. Like in real combat, intelligence is everything. God gave you the ability to see, so use it to read the words on the screen and try to apply them, understand them, and most of all, master them. Trust me, the key to defeating the enemy is by doxing them. Sun Tzu. In the hub, you can access your sinners, choose their identity, and pick their EGO. This is also where you can access the excavations and the mirror dungeon. We'll get to those in a bit. So, in what arcane way do you get these identities? Yes, Limbus Company is a gacha game. However, don't view it as the spawn of Satan here to destroy your life. Unlike most gacha games, Limbus Company is very lenient in its monetization method. It has good pull rates and they display it to you right there with the click of a button. And most of all, they are not scantily clad anime women with huge exposed tits. The biggest news you may celebrate is that you're not pulling any children. The identities and EGOs you get from participating in the gacha will be a huge boon to your campaign. However, the basic identities can get you through the game without any issues. Furthermore, the identities are useless if you don't know what you're doing, so they are all conditional. Conditional to your intelligence, that is. Your hand isn't going to get twisted to having to pull for a specific character to get through any mission. You can just ignore the gacha entirely if you want. But again, these characters are a breath of fresh air for these types of games. And above all else, they're still hot without having to show much skin or be children. Anyways, with what's important out of the way, let's get back to talking about the hub. In both Tread Excavations and Mirror Dungeons, you get to fight. Holy shit, what the fuck is that? Ah yes, man-made creations beyond my comprehension. My favorite. It is mandatory to face mankind's failures, because by defeating abnormalities in Tread Excavations, you earn treads which you can use to up-tier identities and get access to skills and passives, or tread spin EGOs to reveal their passive effects. As I have said, I don't know why I put this in the script twice. Abnormalities are quite common and you will be finding them every other battle. Whether it is in mirror dungeons or the main stories dungeons, abnormalities, big and small, work differently than in regular fights. While most of the mechanics remain the same, you now have the freedom of selecting which meatbag will bonk a building-sized wall of flesh with a baseball bat first. You don't have to change skills anymore. You can choose your targets and you should choose wisely, because abnormalities may seem harmless at first, but they are stronger, sturdier, and deadlier than the average enemy. In story dungeons, you will also get EGO gifts that help you out by giving you a passive boost in certain conditions. It is a boon to your expedition in ensuring no one dies, because the dangers of the dungeons make it impossible to revive and heal dead sinners unless you are inside a safe zone. Guys, I think I downloaded the wrong version of Devil May Cry. Books! The window to knowledge. So sit your ass down and open one, because we are going to go through a lot of them. Also, spoiler alert. Limbus Company's story is a retelling of Dante's journey through the layers of hell in Dante's Inferno, along with some creative liberties. Already, you can see what is going to happen. You play as Dante, and after getting yiffed by furries in the middle of a dark forest, you are saved by Big Daddy Virgilius. You're nodding your head, aren't you? The entirety of Limbus Company is just the adoption or the synonymous retelling of classic literature, and Dante's Inferno is just the shell that contains the many other stories. By now, you know of Dante and Virgilius. Virgil calls himself a guide, and Dante is going to traverse Inferno. He says this in the game. So let's talk about the sinners further. As I've said, there are 12 individuals under your command, and as their manager, you order them into the field of battle. They are an eccentric group, each one having a different personality, but one thing they all share in common is that they are all insane. There are better videos out there that cover the books that the sinners are referenced to, so I'm not going to dwell on them very long. So, Gregor is Gregor Samsa from the book Metamorphosis, and he has a cockroach arm. Rodion is Rodion Raskolnikov and has gone on a killing spree, murdering every IRS agent in the city. The head has a warrant out for her execution. Sinclair is Emile Sinclair from the book Damien, the story of Emile Sinclair's youth. He is the mandatory fragile Slovenian femboy that will eventually become a giga-chad through the trials and tribulations you will be facing on this journey. Yi-sang is an adult man that cannot break out of his emo stage when he was a teenager. Ishmael was a sailor that got PTSD from a big dumb whale that killed all of her crew and now has a hard-on to kill. I'm not really sure about this. It's either the beast or her captain, I'm not sure. Heathcliff is an average Birmingham resident that hates his wife, hates his kid, hates his family, but loves his bat. Simple as. Don Quixote got baptized in a pool of Monster Energy and was fed pure caffeine when she was a child, resulting in a ball of energy so dense it can become a star at any moment. Hong Lu is Elon Musk, trying to relate and live among the poor only to out himself as a grossly out-of-touch billionaire. Ryoshu is a member of the Yakuza that fought Kiryu Kazu and Majima Hepatitis and now has a thing for gruesome gory art. Mayor Salt is French. Otis is a war veteran that didn't get covered by the GI Bill and now has to do mercenary work as a nobody. Faust is Tony Stark, but what if he was a white woman? If you made it this far, then congratulations. You have the attention span of a normal human being and not a teenager addicted to TikTok. Now, after all of that, will I finally, actually, tell what happens in the story missions of Limbus Company? No, because Limbus Company is not a complete game yet. Also, it is brand new. How fucking stupid would I be if I spoil a story that a lot of people are looking to play? So no. Limbus Company is so different from all other games I've ever played. It is a dungeon crawler, yet it excels in regions that I never expected it to. It takes Library of Runa's alpha gameplay and makes it a sort of accessible version of the notoriously difficult system. That doesn't mean it's easy. The first 2 chapters will lull you into a full sense of security because you breeze through them, but you better clench your cheeks when entering chapter 3. Because as how synonymous it is to Project Moon by now, the difficulty spike is vertical. The game has a beautiful art style with scenes that invoke emotions from just seeing them. Beautifully drawn backgrounds and nicely shaded characters really goes a long way to show the atmosphere a chapter presents. Canto 1 is melancholic depression, Chapter 2 is destructive fun, Canto 3 is unleashing repressed rage with a side of Lovecraftian horrors. To accompany these images is the absolutely wonderful soundtrack. They knock it out of the park with the music once again, and I cannot stop listening to them. They really set the mood for the fight. The laid-back, chilled-out tracks of Canto 2, the urgent and alert of Canto 1, to the all hope is not lost in Canto 3. Truly, for a gacha game, it has a lot going for it. The combat system is engaging even though it suffers through the same case of a bad tutorial and the lack of hand-holding. The story is... it's moving, and that's all I'm gonna say about it. We're here to explore the city. The world Project Moon has built up. The stories and experiences the city holds are interesting and terrifying, telling the greater tale of a humanity that is bleeding of its humanity. The game still has a lot coming, with constant updates perfecting the system. Ever evolving like a chimp, Limbus Company is not a finished product just yet. So, I rate Limbus Company an 8.5 out of 10. A sure recommendation, one that pairs excellently with its prequels. Thank you.